All right, here we are back on our Honda. We ran into some situations on this car when we stripped it down. It wasn't a car that the owner thought it was, because when he bought the car, he thought that the car was never wrecked, and the only wreck that was ever accomplished on it was the wreck that he got in. But when we stripped the car, we found out that the car was wrecked in more than one place. Now, it got rear-ended over here in this corner. The owner didn't know about that. You know, we got Bondo everywhere on this car that was unexpected, and this is the situation you run into. And then this was the worst section right here, this quarter panel door and fender. The quarter panel was crushed in real heavily at the door jamb right here. You can see all that Bondo. And then if we look at the door right here, even this door was covered in Bondo. But then the door, we found out that the door and the fender were replaced. So I'm thinking that this car got sideswiped right before Honda guy Randy bought it. Another thing we noticed is up here, we found some Bondo. Do you see that right there, Larry?
Yeah, I see that.
And what happened is a used car lot purchased this car at an auction or insurance pool or something, and then took it over to his body shop and had them put it all back together and paint it, because this car was painted twice on the rear end and 3 times on the front. And why this has Bondo on it in this area right here is beyond my imagination, but that was wrecked at one time. So that's telling me that the whole car was painted one time. This is all Bondo down here going all the way into the rocker panel. So, okay. So that's telling me that this car was overall painted. We got some other Bondo we found over here in this area. That's really unusual for the window pillar to have Bondo all over in it, Larry. You know what I'm saying? This is the kind of deal that says, you know what? I gotta look at your car before I can give you an accurate estimate of what's going on.
Welcome to D.I.Y. Automotive School with my friend Pete and Minnie, the body shop girl. It's everything you need to know about cars and more.
So the deal was with our buddy Randy is that he gets his car to my shop, I strip it to bare metal, and then we go from there. We've also found some more rust on it that's going to need repaired. By removing the door of the vehicle, we see that this is fucked up, Larry. All right? Yep. You know, this is a deal about rust here. You get some here, then it turns into this, then it turns into this, and it keeps on going until you gotta say, hey, where's the end of it? So we got some real thinking to do, and we got some repairs to do on this. Now what we're going to do to start this out is we are going to actually cut this section out of this roof right here, Larry.
That'd work.
All right. We're not going to replace the whole skin of the roof because the whole skin doesn't need replaced. And another problem we have by replacing the whole roof, which that's what I wanted to do in the first place, is that the parts car that we found, only parts car available in the DFW area that I could find, the roof was crushed in the center. But if we come back here, this section is still good. Now, don't get excited over here. That's just surface rust. That'll come right off, and that's in good shape. But if Larry can open the door, I'd appreciate it. There you go. Okay, thank you. We can look up inside here and we see all this is in good shape up here. And the door itself is in really good, excellent condition. No rust on the door. We'll be using that door. The door on that one needs replaced in there. So we'll be removing that. we're gonna do this. If you can shut that, Larry, thank you, bud. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we are going to cut this section out. We'll come up here in this area. We want to cut this one big. You see what I'm saying? And then we'll probably come over here and just, you know, take our air chisel and cut this all off, and then we'll trim it to fit. And then when we cut the back end of this one out, what we'll do is we will cut minimal metal out of this. Only the metal that we need to take out of the car will be cut off the car itself. And then we'll take our patch section that we got outside, and then we will take that and fit it onto this. Does that make sense with you, Larry, lawnmower guy?
Sounds great.
Now, what if you were working on a lawnmower and you had to replace a fender because it was rusted? How would you do that?
I'd throw it away.
Really?
Yeah.
But if you had to patch it together, would you even do that on one of your lawnmowers?
No.
You wouldn't? So your lawnmower would be trash. It would go in the trash. You'd say, I don't need it. I'll go buy another one.
Well, you can find decks real easy.
Decks?
Decks.
Okay, is that what rusts out on lawnmowers, the
Yes.
decks? Okay, so the bodies and the motors.
Motors are worth the money.
They are?
That's the only thing it's worth.
How
money.
much is a motor worth on that lawnmower, Larry?
Depends on which one it is,
Yeah.
depending on the size.
Okay. Yeah.
Anywhere from 100, 200, 500, 600, so it depends on what motor.
Well, the last time I saw you getting rid of motors, they were going to the scrap iron yard.
That's right. Sometimes they get to a point they're no good.
Right. Do you think this car is worth restoring, Larry?
I think so.
Be honest.
Yes.
You think that this car isn't in really that bad a shape that it can be fixed back up, put back to original, and make it look like a brand new car off the showroom floor?
Knowing what you can do, Pete, I would say yes.
I see a lot of Bondo over here, Larry. That's telling me that this car, something's fucked up at one time on this car. Because this is like a road map of what happened to it, see? Does that make sense?
I would say so.
Yeah, you got a road map when you strip them down to bare metal. You know exactly what happened. I mean, look at this over here. Okay, out of curiosity, why would they have Bondo on the roof up here? And you can even see right here, this is something that causes rust. Do you see where they drilled that out and they used a slide hammer on it?
Yeah.
And here's another one and another one. That is what causes rust. And I'll bet you $100 the situation, this was wrecked up in here somewhere, and this was probably somewhere where they drilled into it as well, and that's what happened, dude. Look at all these little holes here.
Yep.
All right, something happened to this car that we don't know about. This was full of Bondo right here, bud.
Yep.
So both these corners had Bondo in them. We got Bondo in this corner here. It's a mystery car, Larry. It's a mystery. Nobody will ever know.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Original owner knows.
The original owner, or should we say the used car lot guy?
Whichever.
Yeah. So, let's get on it, let's get her done, and let's do it right. This is gonna be a bitch.
Yep.
Real bitch.
Would I put that much money in? No. Can it be done?
Okay, why didn't you say that on film, Larry? All right, I asked your opinion about it, and you said that you said it was worth it. You said it's worth rebuilding. Now you say, when I'm moving my camera around, would I put that much money in it? No.
I wouldn't, but somebody else
But if
mentioned.
it was a lawnmower, you might.
No.
If it was a lawnmower, you might put it in it.
I'd get parts off of it and throw it away. I guarantee you, there's probably, if this has no emotional ties to it,
It does have emotional ties. How many people do you know out there that's gonna restore a car like this without emotional ties? Just to say, oh, I think it's a cool car, I'm gonna restore it.
there's some people who do that.
It's an emotional situation, and that's what makes the car worth restoring,
Okay.
Larry. Is it an icon of automotive industry? Possibly.
No.
Okay, it might be.
No.
Yeah, it might be because it was the creation of the small car world.
No.
This is where all of it started, right here, dude. Okay, this is it. So yeah, you know.
But what I'm saying is there's already ones out there,
Okay.
That are
Okay, so
probably-
there's already ones out there that are restored.
or better shape.
Okay. Can I go to work, Larry?
Whenever you're ready, Pete. You don't have to talk to me.
Well, you keep talking.
That's okay. My voice will carry to the microphone. You don't have to have my face.
Are you done?
No. I got a whole, I'm going to recite the,
We're going to go ahead and keep working here. Larry can recite his Bible of belligerent speakings, and you know, we'll just hear him in the background. How does that sound, Larry?
that sounds good to me.
All right, what I want you to do, Larry, you see these pop rivets in here?
Yeah.
I want you to drill them pop rivets out. They look like 1/8 inch, so we're going to get an 1/8 inch drill.
Okay.
Can you do that without breaking my double-headed drill bit?
Now,
There's your phone. Answer it, bud. Call your brother.
hey, I'm in town.
Okay.
What are you doing?
Thank you, Larry. Okay, Larry's got an important phone call there, so we're going to go ahead and keep working on it. And on these particular cars, there's a lip around there, and when that lip loses its rubber seal, which a lot of people don't know about, it starts to rot and rust. So we got to remove that lip because we're going to reuse it. So what we got here, we got a bunch of little 1/8 inch rivets. We're going to go ahead and pop them rivets off because what this is actually a gasket holder, we'll call that. It's an extrusion of metal where a rubber gasket would go inside here and it would basically stop about right here. And what that does, that seals the top of the deck lid in so water doesn't get in. Now, Randy, the Honda guy, was complaining he didn't know why water was getting in it. So when I told him about this gasket lip here, he said, wow, I didn't even know there was a gasket there, which most people don't. Okay, so now you want to do it, Larry?
I don't care.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to let Larry do that while we move down the line and start marking out where we're going to start working. Son of a bitch, what the fuck is going on here, Larry? It's a rivet. Look at that. Alright, we got that one off. It's done. Okay, now, while I'm working on this, do you want to take the tools out there and remove that deck lid?
I'll go out there and do that.
Okay, let me give you the tools, bud.
Okay, give me the tools.
Now, on the wires, we can just cut those. We don't need the wires. Okay, and don't break the deck lid because we're using that one, Larry. Okay, now that we got something for Larry to do and get out of our hair, let's go ahead and proceed on doing this. So fixing this type of rust is kind of tricky because we're not replacing the whole roof, and what's going to happen if we don't do it right, it's going to fuck up on us. And when I say fuck up, it's going to warp. All right, it's going to bend, it's going to twist, and it's going to look like shit. So we really got to neuter the situation and do this properly. And what we're going to do is we're going to take some tape. And all this is going to do is give us a line so we cut it across. I'm going to try to cut as least as possible out of this thing, and hopefully we're going to get away with doing it this way. Matter of fact, you know, I just thought of something. I'm going to come down even closer, possibly about 1/2 inch away from the farthest rust. And I already know what you're doing. You're looking over there and you're saying, well, you got that rust over there. Let me show you what we're going to do. Because when you're working on these old cars and you're using a parts car, you're talking patching. We're talking patch panel repair here. So I'm going to bring my tape right to there. And it's probably going to be a little bigger than this. We're just, you know, eyeballing it out and starting our roadmap. Let me go ahead and straighten that tape out just so it's got a straight line on it. There we go. Just like that. And we want to stay in this curve here because once we get into this area, it really starts weakening out. So we want to keep it contained in the hard surface area. That looks pretty good there. And then what we'll do is we're going to come down here just like this. You see how I'm doing that? And we got to get it a little bit straighter. Just like that. And then we're going to bring this over here just like that. So we're going to cut this section out because this is the bad part. So right here in this area, this is where the roof skin ends, and there's some brass in this area that we're going to have to cut off. And the way we're going to do that is by using our cutting wheel. Make sure that you at least have safety glasses on doing this. Are you already done, Larry?
Yes, Pete.
If you want to take the drill out there and get that prepped up, cut them spot welds off, okay?
Okay.
That didn't take long, dude. Wow.
I wasn't making a movie.
Son of a bitch, Larry. I'm over here trying to...
I'm not making a movie.
Okay. Get your drill. Go drill those out and keep those, put them over here. We want to keep them, we'll use the best of the 4. All right, so what I was saying is we want to cut this off right here, and we're going to get rid of this brass where it overlaps, where the 2 panels meet. There's another little thing that I'm looking at in here, and I want to see if I can save that. And what this thing is right here is where our molding actually screws on. There's a little corner piece that screws on here because rubber actually goes in here. There's a rubber molding that goes in here, and then there's this little end cap that fits over it. So I'm going to try to save that and see what I can do about that. But in the meantime, we've got to take this brass out of here, and then that's a spot weld. That's a spot weld, and then here's another spot weld right here, and there's probably one underneath this thing. So let's see what we can do to get this apart. And then once I do that, I'll come down here and I'll go ahead and remove the lead out of this area right here using my grinders. And then I'll come down this seam. You can see here's the seam right here. You can barely see it. And then I'll remove these spot welds right here. And I'm going to go down and do the exact same thing on this side. Once we remove the piece that we're going to keep, we're going to go ahead and bag and tag it with the back door parts because we're going to need to use that. And when I do the yellow car, I'll also in turn remove those ones, and then I'll take the 2 best out of the 4 and use them. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and remove all the spot welds. We'll get over there. When I get that done, we're going to go ahead and remove this piece out of the vehicle. Alright, now that we got this panel off, this is the one we're going to use. You can see how I cut it a lot longer than what we really need, and that's because we're going to have to trim this one to fit that one. The situation we have is I want to save this lip right here. This is the main deal, is trying to save as much as possible on this one. We don't give a fuck about that one one's done. But this is where it starts getting tricky, because if you remember right, we cut straight down here, then we went up like this and over like that, so it's kind of like an L shape, you might say. So let's get inside and see what's going on, and hopefully we can get this piece of metal to work on our other one. Car. Honda. Yeah. Now that we got the piece out of the other car and we need to start working on this, what I've already done is I went ahead and basically roughed it in, hammered, dollied it. Now I want to show you, this is a surface rust. Let me show you. You can see on the back it's really good, really clean metal, and everything's going to work great out on it. But when we took it out, this lip right here that we need was rolled over, so what I'm doing now is I'm straightening that out. And the way that I do this, I just kind of use hand tools and manipulate it back in shape that way. The look right here, you can see that I got an old railroad tie or a piece of angle iron, whatever this is, and I put it in my vise, and then I kind of use that for a dolly. And what I'm doing here is I'm just taking my hammer, you can see that I am squaring it back up. And I like to use this type of a tool right here, this angle iron, due to the fact that it's got the nice flat edges, so when I'm ready to start flattening it out, get all that right back in shape. And then when we're all done, you can see we got that baby flattened out, ready to roll. The next thing I want to do is I want to get these ends nice and squared up. And I'm basically going to do the same thing. I'm just going to take my pliers, I'm going to bend it up a little bit, because we're only going to be using a couple inches of this. Remember, we're not using all of this, but I do want to get it all in shape how it's supposed to go. Okay, all right. And now that our patch panel's ready, what we need to do is we need to go ahead and measure everything out and then precisely cut our patch panel out, because this is a one-time situation. We got one chance at this and we don't want to mess it up. So let's go back over to the car and see how we're going to do that. So there's a lot of ways that we could probably do this. We can measure that out, and we can do this, and we can do everything else. But what we're going to do is we're going to get some paper. We're going to put a piece of paper across here, or even better yet, we're going to go ahead and use poster board. So we kind of see that our poster board really isn't the right length, and we're going to have to add another piece over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this corner off right here. And then before I do anything else, I'm going to come over here, and I am going to manipulate my way to getting to the edge that I see right here, where our panel is going to go down into that pocket or on that lip. And I'm going to go ahead and tape that on there. And the reason I'm going to tape it is because we got to be pretty precise with this. And also, keep in mind, being precise also means that we have got to, we're going to come right here, we got to get it right to where that thing rolls. Matter of fact, we're going to go over that. We'll roll it over ourselves. And then we're going to come right here. How about that? We'll come right to here. We're going to use that square edge. Do you see what I'm saying? Since this is a square edge, let's use this square edge to go along this line here. And then we're going to go ahead and roll ours over ourselves. That's going to give us a better angle anyway. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So we're going to go ahead and get it lined up, just like that. And then we're going to tape that down there. And we're going to tape that right there. And then we're going to take our gloves. This is what's going to give us our pattern. We're going to take our gloves and we are going to press on that edge. Alright, and the reason we're going to press on that edge, I'm going to show you here in a minute. Just bear with me. And then once we got that edge, we're going to come in here and we're going to press on the edge of our roof panel. Push down on it. And what I'm doing here, if you haven't figured it out yet, is I'm actually making my pattern by using my gloves and putting a crease in it. So And this time right now, we don't have to be exactly 100% precise, but we want to be able to know where we're going with it. Come down here, and then we're going to go across here. Just like that. And then, so we don't lose our line, I'm going to go ahead and tape that right here. Now, normally when I use my gloves have a little bit of grease and dirt on them, and when I rub on it, it shows me where the line of the panel is. As you can see in the camera, you can't see that, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a black crayon so we can see it in the camera, and I'm going to rub that line, and I'm going to find it using the side of a crayon to give me my guide. And you'll see what we're talking about here in a minute. And now if you look at it, you can see that we made a line right here, and the only place that it looks like we didn't get it good, and that's because we cut this corner out and the panel is laying down. I'm going to go ahead and pry that up to where it's supposed to be, and then I'm going to go over it one more time. Just like that. And now we can go ahead and cut this out, transfer this pattern, and we got to make one more line, which is right here. Because remember, this is where our lip that rolls over. And now what I'll do, I'll go ahead and remove my pattern, just like this. And then I'm going to take my scissors, I'm going to cut this piece out right here, transfer it over to our other piece, which is right here. I'm going to go ahead and add a ½ inch onto this, from this pattern onto this metal, because what we got to do is we got to put a flange on either the roof or the replacement panel. I'm presuming that I will probably put it on the roof itself due to the fact that this corner is laying down. Do you see how that's laying down in there? And what will happen if I put the flange on, okay, I'm going to put the flange on this. If I put the flange on this, what will happen is I can put that under there, and when I get this all tack welded in, all right, once I get that tack welded in, what will happen, it'll hold that piece of roof extension up in there. Or should I say roof panel. So when I cut this, from cutting that corner out, made this weak right here. And I'm going to pop it up in there, and it'll all work out. Now that we got our panel all done, ready for fitment, you can see how nice it came out, nice and square and even. I went ahead and added a ½ inch on to our pattern over here, so I can compensate for the flange that I put on it right there, because we're going to put this underneath the roof. This is going to go underneath the roof panel, and the reason for that is because remember I told you that this here kind of shrunk down on us when we cut it out, and it fell down in there from cutting this corner out. So when we stick this under here, what should happen is that should actually go ahead and bring that roof panel back up to where we need it, and it should fit good. So let's see if we can get this on here. And it looks like it's going to be a tight fit, and that's what we want. We want a nice tight fit on this. That's what we want. And I can see where we're having a little bit of a problem. What I got to do, I got to cut these corners out so this will slide under there and then this will lay on top of that. So I got to do that on both corners. But this is the situation you have when fitting these bastards together. It's a lot of time consuming, manipulating, and frustrating work because it's just that way. So let me get my cutting wheel and get this to fit, and hopefully everything's going to work out. Okay, now let's see if we can get this to fit under here like we want it. So I can already see it's going to be a tight fit, just by the way it's going on, which that's, once again, what we want. There we go. Now, it seems to be fitting on there like we want it to be fitting on there. And I don't like this right here. This is part of the roof panel that we need to cut off. We got a little bit more cutting over here. Hang on. Okay, do we got to cut this side off? Yes, let's go ahead and cut this off too, and get it trimmed back as well. I think we got it cleaned up. Let's try it again, and hopefully it's going to fit. And before I put that in there, I want to let you know this has been an all-day job. I started on this approximately 9 o'clock this morning. I took a lunch break, and I have been working on it all day long. So, yeah, it's actually about 6 o'clock at night, and is that going to go under there? Let's see here. This is where it's going to fit tight. There it is. Okay. There it is right there. Hang on. Get this one in here. There it goes. And I think we're going to be okay. Alright, cut that down just a little bit. Just bear with me. As you can see, it looks like it's going to fit pretty good. So just hang on. And then you can see it lifted that up as well. But we're not done there. We still got to do some trimming. So hang on a second. Fitting pretty tight on here. It's kind of hard to get all this to fit. There it is right there. All right, and then that is going to go like that. Do you see what's going on here? And now what we've done is we've created a flange, and I'm going to have to screw that on there. That's fitting really nice, and I like it, and I think it really looks awesome. So now that we got our panel fit in there where we want it, and the way that I can tell it's where it's supposed to be is that it's all the way up against this lip here. It looks like we got to do a little bit of trimming in this area to get that down. There it goes. Okay, and you can see where that lines up. I like that. And everything's looking good. And then when we come over here, you can see when I push on that to get it where it goes, it all lines up as well. So I think everything's going to work out. And I'm going to go ahead and screw fit that in there, and when we come back, hopefully, we're going to be welding. Hopefully.
D.I.Y. Automotive School. Classes don't stop till you know everything.